888-900-3319 is the number to call. BT and Sal on the fan. We'll get back to the sports stuff and obviously all the trick. Oh, there it is.
It's
time to play the game.
All right, here we go, BT. So we've been talking it up just now. The first ever two-night SummerSlam takes place this Saturday and Sunday at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. The event streams live in the U.S. exclusively on Peacock beginning at 6 p.m. Eastern Time and is available internationally on Netflix. This marks WWE's return to MetLife Stadium for the first time since WrestleMania 35 in 2019. And right now, the King of Kings, the man himself, Triple H, joining BT and Sal. How are you, Triple H?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Yeah, not bad. First thing, we're just talking about this, obviously, the passing of Hulk this week. You guys did a lot on SmackDown and then Raw. Do you have any plans to honor Hogan once again at SummerSlam on Saturday or Sunday?
We're working through the show now, and, you know, it comes down to finding the right mix of, and I think you just mentioned it a second ago as I was getting mic'd up here, right? Like, what is the right level of respect? Obviously, you cannot tribute enough as his accomplishments in WWE or in wrestling in general, right? I mean, you could make the argument that none of us would be here in this industry without him, right? The rise of Hulk Hogan in the 80s, really catapulting the business to another level. So, you know, but there's not without its controversy. So, we want to be aware of that, and we're making those decisions in real time, I think, just like everybody else is.
Yeah, you know, I wanted to ask you this, too, and I thought you did a great job with the mic, with the salute to Hulk, and Cody, you know, certainly addressed both angles, the stuff that, you know, obviously got Hulk in trouble, and, of course, all the amazing stuff that he did. But you grew up in New Hampshire, if I'm not Nashville, right? You're in okay. So,
yes.
When you're 13 or 14, that's when Hulk wins the strap from the Sheik. Did you see him? Because I grew up in New York, and I didn't get access to, like, the AWA or the NWA unless I went down to Florida to visit my relatives in Orlando. Was your first exposure to Hulk when he came to the WWE?
No, my first exposure to Hulk was when he came to WWF the first time. So when he was a heel and Freddie Blassie was his manager, coming in to work with Backlund and to do all that stuff. I remember being, you know, as a kid being like, wow, this guy's incredible and, you know, is going to take this to another level. And then he left. Where I grew up, I was fortunate to get, like, we were one of the places to get cable television as it started to come into all the areas, right? So I would see the AWA, I would see all that, you know, different stuff. As he went down to Florida, occasionally we'd see that. When he was in the AWA working with Vern and Nick Bockwinkel and all of that, I would see it. So when he came in, I was well aware of who and what he was, and what he brought to the table. But the rocket ship that it was in that moment of him coming in, setting the place on fire, and then, you know, beating the Iron Sheik and just starting a run that is really comparable to nothing else. I mean, just taking it to a whole nother level. And then, of course, later, you know, becoming Hollywood Hulk Hogan, and just once again, any dip that there was in him transcending the business sort of got recaptivated by that moment with the NWO. So,
yeah,
you know, two completely separate generational runs that really positioned him as not only the biggest star in the industry, but a guy that could transcend outside of that. And you guys know, you lived it as well. There was a moment in time in the middle to late 80s where probably Hulk Hogan is probably the most recognizable man on the planet.
Not him, Michael Jackson. He's on the list. There's no doubt. I agree.
For sure.
Yeah, Triple H with us, BT and Sal on the fan. One more Hogan thing. I obviously want to jump around the car, but I'd love your opinion on this, your thoughts on this. So I was saying, I was actually on the air when we got the news, right? So, you know, no preparation, even though I could talk about Hulk Hogan in my sleep and wrestling. And I eventually got to this point. Like, to me, what Tiger Woods did for golf, like back in the day, you had a bunch of, let's face it, like, you know, just like white guys with bellies wearing khakis and ugly clothes, and they weren't really athletes. Tiger changed everything. Michael Jordan revolutionized the sneaker industry. It's my opinion, Triple H, that there's going to be better wrestlers for sure than Hulk, but nobody can elevate wrestling ever again from the way that where Hulk took it to where he eventually took it. Nobody else could do that. I just think it's actually impossible. You agree?
I do believe that, and I believe it because it was the first, and it caused the explosion, right? It caused it to go to a next level. It caused it to become mainstream, where everybody, having lived through that period of time, it's hard for people to understand, but MTV was like the biggest thing in the world, right? Like, that's all anybody watched as a young person, and all of a sudden, here's Hulk Hogan and Cyndi Lauper and, the whole crew doing this thing that becomes the biggest, most talked about thing happening at that time. As a kid, it wasn't, you heard about sports, you heard about big fights, you heard about all those things, but everybody was talking about Hulk Hogan and the Rock and Wrestling Connection and WWF and just all of it. So I don't think you can ever replicate it, because where we are now sort of piggybacks off of that, and that, the giant that was Hulk Hogan then launched the Bret Harts and the Stone Cold Steve Austins and the Rocks, and they continued to grow it. But that first initial leap into the zeitgeist, into popular, everyday water cooler conversations before the internet, was Hulk Hogan.
BT and Sal on the Fan. We're talking with Triple H ahead of SummerSlam this weekend out at MetLife Stadium. And we talked about it before. Why 2 nights? Like, I kind of understand the business of it. You have Friday SmackDown, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday with Raw. Why, though, 2 nights? It's the first ever, almost 40 years, first ever SummerSlam 2 nights. You know that this has been an effective business model so far based off of what you've had in WrestleMania. Why the 2 nights now for these pay-per-views?
Look, it has been successful for us on the WrestleMania side for sure. The 2-night WrestleManias, destination weekend for people that can come in. I think people plan their year, their vacation around it. A lot of folks do. They come in, whether they're coming in on the Thursday, they're going to the World, they're seeing all the memorabilia, getting autographs, coming to SmackDown on Friday night, the Saturday, Sunday events, NXT in the afternoon, sometimes on the Saturdays, all the way through to the Monday night. This time will be at Barclays Center. It creates a destination event. So if you are a WWE fan, if you're a sports entertainment fan, man, it's the ultimate. You come in, you're there for that whole weekend, and everything you do, everything you see, when we say we come in and we take over, that New York, New Jersey area will just be WWE Central. And if you're a fan, there's nothing like it. It's going to Disney for pro wrestling, and it's worked for us at WrestleMania. It'll work for us at SummerSlam. It's going incredibly well. The business is there, so let's take it.
Yeah, I was watching, I don't know if it was, I watched the first episode of Unreal last night on Netflix, and by the way, it is tremendous. I was telling BT about this. I can't wait to watch the rest of them here at Triple H. A great show that you guys are doing that gives you, incredible insight to behind the scenes of what goes on. I'm not sure if you said it in this or if I read this somewhere else, but you said that the business right now is more challenging than it's ever been. Explain why that is the case.
Well, I think the internet, you could do things at that moment in time when you go back and you talk about Hulk Hogan, right? People didn't know. They didn't know the ins and the outs. They didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. They maybe talked about it a little bit. Now, you can't, if you're bringing in a new talent, like, you got to hide him at a different airport. You can't let him be seen at the building, because the second you do, it's everywhere. People want to report on everything. And it's the funny thing that you talk about Unreal, like, people that are fans of our business are just as fascinated with the behind the scenes of what we do as they are seeing it take place and the entertainment that it provides in real time. And all the things that goes into it. And there, as you said with the show, there's so much that goes into the creation of this. But fans are fascinated with it. The people that are complaining about us lifting that curtain and showing people behind the scenes are mostly the people that are already talking about it anyways. They're on podcasts. They're debating it with their friends. They're already there talking about all of it. We're just giving you a look into what really goes on and what happens behind the scenes. And I think, much like Drive to Survive did for F1, I think this opens up the doors to a lot of people that aren't necessarily fans, but that can watch this and appreciate all that goes into it and say, man, these people seem fascinating. They approach what they do with such an incredible passion. I want to see what the final product is that they put out, and hopefully that leads to them becoming WWE fans for life.
You're an artist. You got to put words and sounds together to create an image. So when you struggle to find something creative that you're just not sure if it's going to work, what is your process? What do you do when you just can't nail it behind the scenes with the team?
So it's tough. People don't think about it in this manner. We do Raw, SmackDown, NXT every single week, 52 weeks a year. The story never ends, and it leads you to that next PLE. It leads you to that next big event. It's a constantly churning cycle. You cannot name another entertainment source, whether television, scripted or otherwise, music, anything that has that run of consistency. So when you're always going to have moments of creative, like you're just dry. You don't have the ideas. What you have is good, but it's not what you want it to be. The beautiful thing is it's a huge team. So anybody that says, "Oh well, this one person, the creative goes through them," that people say that a lot about. It's a massive team. So when I'm dry, hopefully somebody else has a great idea. And you know it when you hear it. So as the ideas come up, they're coming from everywhere, fast and furious, from talent, from our writing team, from our producers, to everywhere. As the ideas are coming in, there's a good one in the bunch. And we're always looking for what the best is. Doesn't matter where it comes from.
Does talent have a lot more say now than they used to back in the day with Vince Sr.?
I think back if you're talking about the Vince Sr. days, right? There was a lot less overall storytelling, right? It was a lot more matches and promotion to get to those matches. So I think talent had input on what they did creatively in ring, where the end result was up to the promotion and up to Vince Sr.
Yep.
Vince Jr., it went all over the place, from his idea to do it this way to the right talent having a lot of creative input. I like to work directly with talent. And Vince did as well. Don't get me wrong. That was his strong suit. I worked with him for many, many years. It's how we created a creative partnership. But I love to work with talent. I love to hear their point of view. They know their characters. Let's get all those points of view together and then determine the best route for it, right? And as long as everybody is open to, hey, we want to do this, but that might not be the best idea on the table. Somebody might have something better. I don't care whose idea it is, where it comes from. Let's take it and run with it. If we can make fans happy or make them intrigued or sometimes make them mad at what we're doing, that's what it's all about. Silence is the enemy. Loud reactions is where we're at. So it doesn't matter where the idea comes from. We'll run with it.
Last one for you, Triple H, and we appreciate your time. I'm not sure if you're a Mets fan or not, or I know you guys have done a lot of work with baseball and football, all the leagues. Have you seen Brandon Nimmo for the Mets? He warms up in the on-deck circle with a sledgehammer. And I don't know about you, but I see a sledgehammer, and I think one thing. Triple H, King of Kings, have you seen this? Any advice for Brandon Nimmo and the Mets how to use that sledgehammer properly?
I'm just saying the rules are slightly different in Major League Baseball. I would advise don't hit the ref with the umpire with it. Don't go after other people and whack them with it. It might be seen differently in our industry. That stuff is celebrated. Maybe not so much in Major League Baseball. But like honestly, what's the difference? For years, I don't know. When I was a kid, I assume they still do put weights on the bat when you're in the on-deck circle. To warm you up and all that. What's the difference? Sledgehammer worked for me. I think it could work for him, and it's a good gimmick.
I didn't think about it, but I'm sure you could maybe want to use that on some of the umpires, the way they've been officiating these games. Triple H, we appreciate your time. Look forward to talking to you at some point soon. Good luck with SummerSlam this weekend.
Appreciate you guys. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Thanks, man. You got it.
First ever two-night SummerSlam takes place this Saturday, MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It streams live exclusively on Peacock at 6 p.m., available internationally on Netflix, and you can catch Unreal as well. I told you, BT, it was great last night. You'll love it.
I would have jumped into it.
Even with the current superstars, if you don't know as much about Rhea Ripley, but just to get an insight for them. Dude, CM Punk talks about performance anxiety.
He does, huh?
We didn't have time to get into it with Triple H. Obviously, we only had a few minutes there, but yeah.
Was that when Triple H was talking him up?
Yeah, he would. Well, they had
trying to get his confidence back up, or something. I saw something with Punk that was floating around.
Yeah, that might have been it. I forget exactly. I was watching it late last night. I had the Met game on as well, but I was checking it out, and CM Punk, who's like a big performer and big badass, and talking about like confident, one of the best in the world, whatever. He's like, man, I get performance anxiety, and the only time I'm comfortable is when the red light goes on and I'm in the ring. And yeah, there are scenes with him and Triple H behind the scenes. Either way, even if you're not familiar with the current wrestlers, it is a fantastic show. So check it out. Unreal, that's on Netflix there. And actually, Omaha Films does the producing there, which they do a great job.
Manning's, huh?
Yeah.
Look at these guys.
I saw his
you
name,
have
Peyton
enough
Manning.
money. I mean, just come on, lay out for somebody else, will you?
All right, we'll get back to some of the sports stuff. Obviously, reset a little bit down with the king topic of the day. It is Anthony Volpe. It is the trade deadline, 888-808-1019. BT and Sal on the Fan.